Hello, everyone, and welcome to ABC All About Canada, a program that informs, educates, and inspires our fellow kababayans with important happenings in the community today. My name is Rovic Canono. I am your host, and today we have a very relevant topic, as a lot of Filipinos have been buying their first homes. Our topic for discussion today is the 7 common mortgage broker questions from Pinoy clients. And we have a guest today. He is a mortgage broker, none other than Mr. Mike Cuenta.
Hi, everybody.
Um, yeah, Mike, kamusta? What's happening?
Good, Kuya. Yeah, sorry about that weird pause there. So just a little bit about myself. I've been a mortgage broker for about 5 years now. I've done a lot of partnerships with a lot of the agents in the industry, and we've tackled a lot of different files throughout the years. So that includes, commercial brokering, construction mortgages, private mortgages, home equity takeout or home equity loans, home equity lines of credits. You name it, I've done it. So I have a pretty good knowledge of how the mortgage industry works and the ins and outs of how we can make things work and provide possible solutions for potential clients.
Thank you so much. Great experience. As a matter of fact, mga kababayan, I see Mike with some other, because I am also a realtor, with some other realtors closing a lot of transactions and helping a lot of our kababayans. Good job, Mike.
Thanks, Kuya.
All right.
Yeah. And thanks for having me here.
Thank you. You're always welcome. So mga kababayan, we are now going to the topic, 7 common mortgage broker questions from Pinoy clients. And our first commonly asked question is, number 1.
How much down payment do I need to qualify for a mortgage? Is usually one of the first questions that I have from clients. So this question is now, it's up in the air now because there's a new policy that's going to be taking place on April 1st where the property transfer tax is exempt for the first 500,000 and buyers now qualify up to 835,000 as first-time home buyers. So before I used to tell people, you will need to prepare for closing costs, which was going to cost them about $9,000 for a $550,000 purchase. Nowadays, down payment is it's a much easier topic to talk about because you're no longer having to pay for that $8,000 on that closing cost, and your down payment is now strictly your down payment as long as your purchase is up to $835,000. Now, how down payment works is the most basic way I can tell you for first-time home buyers is that for the first $500,000, you're paying 5% of the $500,000. Now, from the balance from $501,000 all the way to $999,000, you're paying 10% of that portion. So, for example, if you were to purchase a $750,000 home, you'd be paying $25,000 on the first portion, which is the $500,000, and then another $25,000 on the second portion, which is $250,000. So a total of $50,000 down payment.
So I would say it's buying time. It's a good time to buy starting April 1st. Am I right?
Yeah. Well, you can buy now and have your completion for past April 1st. So you don't have to pay the extra $8,000 in closing costs. So we're actually expecting a lot of market activity because of the new rules that are taking place on April 1st.
Is this part of the, would you say this is part of the government's effort on housing, on affordable housing?
Yes, I think so. I don't like to talk about the political side of it because of who's currently in power. But yes, I think it is a government effort to help people purchase their first home. and
Well,
just lift a little bit of the burden, right? It's $8,000, so we're saving quite a bit of money.
of course, of course. All right, mga kababayan, yan po ang first commonly asked question about the deposit for especially for first-time home buyers. We are now going to the second commonly asked question.
Okay, so the second commonly asked question that I get from a lot of clients, not even just Filipinos, is what is my rate going to be? Now, rate is very subjective. Rates are always changing, right? It's always something different. Every bank has a different rate. And it also depends on whether or not you have an insured mortgage, which is a down payment of 20% or less, or if you have a conventional mortgage, which is a down payment of 20% or more. So now, for example, if you were to get a 3-year insured mortgage with 5% down, there's a very good chance that you'll receive a rate of close to 495 all the way to 505. Right? For the 5-year rates, we're starting to see them going closer to 489 all the way to 5%. So it really depends on also your profile as a borrower. If you're a strong borrower, or if you're a little bit on the weaker side, if they have to add a premium to your mortgage rates. Now, for example, if you were to do a 20% down payment, it's not that you're penalized, but it's because the bank is now taking on the full mortgage by themselves without the backers, without CMHC or Sage and another mortgage insurer backing them. So your rate on something like that would be closer to 5.3, 5.4, possibly even 5.5%, depending how much leniency the bank is going to grant you.
Mike, in your 5-year experience as a mortgage broker, what was the lowest and what was the highest interests that you were able to that you experienced with client?
Okay, so this is actually it's a big spectrum. So yeah, kasi po in the pandemic, we were seeing rates of 0.99%.
That's right. Yeah.
Right. So 0.99%, that was something that was unheard of.
Yes.
But I also specialize in private mortgages. So we're talking about clients that don't get approved at a regular A bank, a regular alternative lender, or just any alternative lender in general. So private mortgages is you're borrowing money from a mortgage investment corporation, or let's say, for example, if Kuya Rovic had some money to lend you, you'd be borrowing money from him and he would be putting a charge against your property, right? So in the private mortgage spectrum, we've seen anything as high as 17% in my own experience.
Wow.
I've seen a bank rate of 0.99 and I've seen a private mortgage rate of 17.99. It really depends on what kind of mortgage you're taking on, right?
Yeah, so mga kababayan, we're just happy that the average that has been mentioned by Mike at the moment is around 5%, something like that. So yeah, it's a good time to buy.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so let us now go to common question number 3.
Okay, so the third common question that I get is, people get excited, so they ask me what kind of documents they need to get approved for their mortgage. And they think it's very complicated, but it's actually not a very complicated process. I think I would say the hardest part of it is just collecting all of your down payment documents, because you need to get 90 days history from all of the bank accounts that currently contain your proceeds for down payment. So for example, if you had $5,000 in a TFSA and you had $2,000 in an FHSA and another $10,000 in RSP and another $17,000 in your checking account, right? You have to collect 90 days history of all of those bank accounts to provide to the bank for the anti-money laundering rules these days. But the most common documents we need out of all of this is, for anybody that's employed, we're looking at 2 most recent years of your T4s, 2 most recent years of your notice of assessments, as well as 2 most recent pay stubs, your letter of employment, and a credit consent form, as well as your IDs. So it really is just 5 documents that you have that are very easily accessible tax documents you should already have on file. Letter of employment you can get from your HR department. Credit consent form, we provide that for you. And then your two most recent pay stubs. Normally, there's a portal for you to access these.
Well said. Very clear. Oh, mga kababayan, hindi naman pala ganun kahirap. It's very easy. All right? Especially when a good realtor and a good mortgage broker will be assisting you. Napakadali. Don't worry. Okay, so we are now entering commonly asked question on mortgage broker when purchasing your first home. So,
Yeah. So question number 4 is, what types of income can I use towards my mortgage application? And this question comes in the form of, people don't understand that you can use childcare tax benefits towards your income. All right, that's the most common one that people don't know that we can use. The second one is long-term disability. So long-term disability, it really depends on the type of disability or long-term disability that it is. So it could be from WorkSafe, it could be from the government, it could be from WCB. But as long as it's stated that it's a long-term disability and it's ongoing for many, many, many years, we are able to use long-term disability. The other thing too is that, when people are retired, they think that, they're no longer qualified for a mortgage because they're getting older. But that's a very common misunderstanding, is that, you're not allowed to discriminate people based on age. So, you can use things as old age security, RSP income, and even CPP, or even a private pension plan, right? So these are all usable. These are all forms of income that are usable towards the mortgage application.
So mga kababayan, napakaklaro, no? Ngayon lang natin halos narinig yung mga ganyan coming from a mortgage broker. Even if you're retired, you can still purchase a house. Even if you're in a long-term disability, you can still purchase it is not a hindrance, it's not a disadvantage. You can still try. Tama ba ako, Mike?
That's right, Kuya. Absolutely.
Perfect.
So don't let these things stop you from applying for a mortgage, because recently I just got a couple people who are on disability approved.
Perfect.
Right? So,
and as immigrants, mostly yung mga kasamahan nating mga Pilipino, mostly immigrants, they come here medyo nasa retiring age na. 'Di ba? So don't lose hope. Even if you're retired, even if you're nearing retirement, you can still purchase your dream house. Tama?
Yes po, Kuya. Absolutely.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay, so papasok na po tayo on the 5th commonly question asked by Pinoy clients to a mortgage broker.
Okay, so this one I kind of covered on the previous one. So I'm on disability. Can I qualify for a mortgage? So sorry, I actually the explanation for this one I did on the previous question, but to make things short, if you are on disability, again, just as a reminder, it just has to be long-term disability, even short-term for a couple years, depending again on the type of disability that it is. You might still be able to qualify.
Okay, very clear. All right, we are now going to the 6th commonly asked question.
Sorry, this one I also did on the previous question. Is there an age limit to buying a property? Again, no, there isn't an age limit to buying a property. It's age discrimination if they do. So even if you need a cosigner, for example, you can use your grandparents to cosign for your properties. So for just to elaborate on this, if let's say, for example, you're young person, right? You're a young person looking to purchase a property. You can add your grandma, your grandpa to co-sign for you, just so that you can have a little bit more juice on your mortgage application.
So you're right. There's some advantages if you have loving grandparents. If you're the favorite apo. I would say expound. When you say relatives, up to what degree can you ask somebody to be with you in a contract?
So you don't need to even. You actually don't even need to have any relation with the person that you're or that's co-signing for you. So for example, or sorry, close relationship, I should say. So you know we have close immediate family, which is our mother, brother, or sorry, mother, father, brother, sister, and grandma, grandpa. Those are our immediate family, as considered by the banks. But I have an applicant right now who's actually using her auntie to co-sign for her. So it could be your auntie, it could be your cousin, it could be your friend. As long as all the numbers work, the debt servicing works, you're able to use anybody that can help you.
All right. Okay. Another question. Say, for example, you got your auntie as a part of the your purchase of your house, and then this auntie would like to purchase. Time came that your auntie wanted to purchase her own property, and she wants to, I would say, separate from the original purchase. Paano yun?
So let's just hope that your auntie is looking to buy a house 5 years from now, or 5 years from that application, because there's a very good chance you will have enough equity to refinance her out of the mortgage. But if it was the case where you purchase a place with your auntie, and your auntie wants to purchase a place 6 months later, unfortunately, if there's no way for her to qualify, she would be stuck on your mortgage and she wouldn't be able to purchase her own property unless there's some kind of magic that works where the applicants, so the first two applicants who auntie co-signed for, those three applicants can also sign for the next property.
Oh, I
So
see.
there's a possibility of making everything work. It's just all co-signing.
Yeah.
It's all about the numbers, the rates, the stress tests.
That is why mga kababayan, it is important that you get an assessment from a experienced mortgage broker. Tama ba, Mike?
Yes.
Okay, so we are now entering a commonly asked question number 7.
So commonly asked question number 7 is, what kind of credit score do I need to qualify? So there's a lot of issues, or there's a lot of times where there's some credit issues with some clients. There's late payments, high debt ratios, so a lot of credit cards with high balances, which is really dragging down the credit. Now, the insurers, so there's 3 of them. There's CMHC, Canada Guarantee, and as well as Sagent. Okay, so there's 3 insurers, and all they want from you is to have one strong borrower with a credit score of 680 or higher. Now, the other borrowers could have a credit score less than that, as long as one of the borrowers is at 680 and there's no bankruptcies, debt consolidation, or sorry, consumer proposals, and anything else that could be major to your mortgage application. So, for example, you also can't have, so if you have a TD credit card, for example, and it's gone into collections, you haven't paid it off, they've closed it, they've cleared the debt, there's a good chance that bank won't approve you because you already have a very, very serious delinquency with them.
Okay.
But 680 is the minimum. If there's anybody under 680, just as long as 600 to 680 would be the mark that we want to have.
All right, Mike. In your experience, for example, one client before approaching you, he had a negative credit score or bad credit score, but he was able to sell his property. So he has been having a not so good credit score for 3 years, something like that. But he was able to sell a property in the Philippines. He was able to inherit a property in the Philippines. He sold it, and he was able to pay off all his debts in Canada. And that was a month ago. So nag-zero lahat, zero lahat. And now he's trying to apply for a mortgage.
Mhm.
How would that be effective?
So even if somebody was to pay off their whole mortgage, or sorry, mortgage, their whole their
That,
credit profile, so all of their debts,
yes.
right? That happens. What happens to your credit is a temporary boost. So the temporary boost in your credit actually will give you an over 700 kind of credit score, but it doesn't last forever. So eventually that will start coming down until you start proving again that um,
History.
your credit worthiness, your credit history is strong, right? But for somebody like that, we also have alternative financing solutions on the alternative side where the rates are just slightly higher. I would say maybe about 1%, 1.5% higher.
Mhm.
But it does come with fees, and you do need a minimum of 20% down payment. So there are lots of different solutions for clients that have bad credit, and if they want to get into a home, we can get them there. They just have to understand that there is a little bit of a fee that you're going to have to pay.
That's right. Is it also possible, for example, if a person has this negative or low credit score, and then he would just borrow from relatives, relative will just uh, give him some money to pay off these debts? Possible. That's possible, as you mentioned, right? And pero still, there's just a temporary upgrade of credit score. Tama?
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Um,
I mean, does that happen? Just to give a higher credit score, some relatives would, if you know of any thing that has the same scenario.
uh, to be honest,
Yeah.
Kuya, I can't really speak on that
Yeah.
because technically that's something that we're not supposed to do is borrow money to pay off debts.
Mm,
Because then it would still be considered a debt. So if the
mm.
bank was to find out that
You covered your debt using other loans from relatives, like for example your in-laws or your parents.
we would not have we would have some issues with the file down the road.
All right. Okay. Very,
Yeah.
very clear. Very, very clear. So these are the mga kababayan. These are the 7 commonly asked questions from a mortgage broker. We will give this opportunity to Mike Cuenta for other additions.
Um,
Baka meron tayong hindi na talakay or may isang question pa na follow-up question.
there could be, one thing I would want to talk about is the cost of mortgage default insurance. So I think the cost of mortgage default insurance, that's a very big one for a lot of people because they don't understand that the more down payment that you have, the cheaper it's going to be for you. So for example, somebody who's putting 5% down payment on their mortgage loan, right? Or on their mortgage purchase, they would end up paying a 4% fee to one of the insurers to cover their mortgage default insurance. Sorry, so it would actually be advanced up front. So technically, if you're paying, a $500,000 property, you're actually borrowing $495,000, not the 475. So with the mortgage default insurance, you're actually borrowing 495,000 versus 10%, where your mortgage default insurance is only at 3.1%. So not only are you increasing your buying power by adding more down payment, but you're also increasing your buying power because you're borrowing less from the mortgage insurers.
Okay, some developers, they have a promotion, 5% to purchase a pre-sale. So that is covered with what you're saying.
So right now, I don't want to comment on the new builds because there's a lot of new rules. There's a new rule coming into place, and a lot of it is still unsure to even me myself as a broker. I'm still trying to talk to some lawyers, notaries, who understand or are at least trying to understand how the new rules are going to apply. So I mean, we know that the new build threshold is now from 750,000 to 1.1 million, right? And now the new first-time home buyers threshold has gone up from 500,000 to 835,000. But the catch to that is that the first 500,000 is exempt, but the 335,000 is still subject to property transfer tax.
Mhm.
Now, are they going to change it? Is it going to be 1% of the first 200,000 on that, or is it going to be 2% of that full balance? That I still don't know. So it's hard for me to answer completely what the details are now, because there's a very good chance if somebody's buying now, they're going to be completing, a month and a half from now. And that's going to be well into April 1st. Or sorry, well into April, sorry.
All right. Okay. So we will watch out for the new regulation, and hopefully we can invite you again to give us more enlightenment on the advantages of this new regulation.
Awesome. No, I appreciate it.
Yeah. So, Mike, last question: how did you become a what's your motivation to be a mortgage broker? Are you good in math? Do you have to be good
Funny
in math
story.
when you take a course in mortgage brokering? That's also a common question for mortgage broker. Those who would like to have a career in mortgage broker. Oh, there's so much math.
Okay, so to be honest, here's actually the funny thing. I was never good in math. So I in high school I actually failed math 10 3 times. So it's kind of funny because my career path was actually to go towards mechanics.
Mm.
And then from mechanics, it became mechanical engineering.
Mhm.
But I eventually ended up dropping out of mechanical engineering just because the math was very heavy into physics. So physics, I couldn't understand A minus B equals C, all that stuff, right? Or like X to the power of 2, whatever that math was. Now with mortgage brokering, the math comes down, it's a little bit more simple. So, you just have to know what your down payments are. You need to know approximately how much you would or somebody would qualify for with a certain amount of income, and this comes with time. It comes with experience. It's not something that you learn on the first day or the second day or even the first year. In the first year, for me, it was a big learning curve as well. Trying to figure out even how to make numbers work. Paano mo papaikutin yung pera, right? For example, how do you pay off, or which debts do you pay off?
Mhm.
Which debts do you not pay off? Do you have to pay off the car loan? How is this file going to work? Because you can't just start paying off all the debts. The next thing you know, wala ka ng pandown, right, kuya? So it's all about, it's actually not about math. It's about how you think outside the box and how you're able to make a file work with the money that's in front of you. I think that's the best way I can explain mortgage brokering.
Very nice, very nice. So mga kababayan, we have our guest who just explained to us 7 common questions asked by clients. Mortgage broker Mike Cuenta. So where can they get in touch with you, Mike, for their assessment?
So I can actually be reached on Facebook, or you can just simply call me 778-829-3481, or even send me a text just to say, hey, my name is Rovic. I'm looking for a mortgage. I heard you're a good mortgage broker. Please, I just need some help.
All right. Okay. So thank you so much, Mike. We'll see you in action out there.
Sounds good. No,
Right.
thank you again, Kuya Rovic, for having me.
Yes, thank you so much. You're always welcome. So, and that is a wrap, mga kababayan. Thank you for watching All About Canada, a program that educates, informs, inspires our fellow kababayans with important happenings in the community. My name is Rovic Canono. I'm your host for today. I'll see you again.